Hi, my name is Dr. Rappaport. I'm a licensed psychologist and board certified, and I focus and specialize in forensic psychology, conducting evaluations and consulting around the country with attorneys.
My name's Angie Arkin, and I am a retired district court judge from Colorado. Was on the bench for about 15 and a half years, and a significant portion of that time was in domestic relations.
There's some key facts about alcoholism that I think we're all somewhat familiar with, but approximately 15 million adults have alcohol use disorders in the United States alone. What's interesting is many people often think of alcohol use disorders as primarily a male problem, and in fact, it is more common in men than women, but if you look at the statistics, you still have over 5 million women in this country with alcohol-related issues. So it's not something that is not prevalent and highly prevalent in women as well. It's just more prevalent in men. Very few people go into treatment for it. In fact, the literature suggests less than 10% actually get treatment. One of the things to be aware of and why it's so relevant in our family law cases is that about 10% of children live with a parent with alcohol problems. So amongst all the divorces that go on in this country, we're talking about a lot of kids who are living with a parent where there's a serious alcohol issue. There's actually a much higher rate, and this will be no surprise, a higher rate of divorce in marriages where one parent is a heavy drinker.
The other challenge that kids have in these kinds of cases is they become essentially the parent, doing the family chores or doing things around the house, caring for younger children.
And then keep in mind, as you can see on the slide, about 55,000 divorce cases a year involve a parent who's abusing alcohol. So this is something that we see a lot of, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, but it's not uncommon in divorce cases. We're all aware that there's a variety of substances out there that people use and abuse. The most commonly used drug is alcohol, which is not a surprise. What I find interesting is that more people abuse alcohol than all other drugs combined. So why should we do alcohol monitoring is obviously an important question to ask. First and foremost, it's really about protecting the safety of the children. And when I talk about children's safety, I don't just mean their physical safety. I mean their emotional safety. There's a lot of literature out there about the negative impact on children of parents who are abusing and misusing alcohol. As a forensic psychologist, my specialty is in family law, so I conduct a lot of child custody evaluations. And one of the reasons I like alcohol monitoring is it gives me the ability, when I'm not sure if there's really an alcohol-related problem, to put some protections in place for a child. Because what I don't want to do as an evaluator, and I don't think judges want to do this either, we don't want to expose a child to a parent who's actively abusing alcohol because there could be risk to them. But we also don't want to keep a child away from a parent if a parent is not abusing alcohol. And by having a monitoring system in place, it allows us to ensure that the parent and child can be together in a safe manner. One of the most important things is it takes away the ability of false accusations and weaponizing. Too often, what we've seen is a parent shows up to pick up the child, and the other parent accuses them, well, you've been drinking, I can smell it on your breath. And what you end up is an argument that the child witnesses, or you have a parent who suddenly doesn't let the child go with the other parent, and that puts the child in the middle. By having a monitoring system, which is electronic and goes through a company, it creates a situation where parents can't use it as a weapon or to create false accusations. And in fact, monitoring can be a great way to regain trust. If I'm that parent who shows up and I haven't been drinking, but my former spouse thinks I have been and won't let me take the child, how can I regain their trust back? One way is through alcohol monitoring. If they can see that I'm taking these tests and I'm passing it every time, they can then begin to trust that, in fact, I'm not drinking anymore.
One of the biggest challenges as a judge is trying to figure out whether or not this parent is going to be intoxicated when the children are in their care. As a judge, you're always going to be thinking first do no harm. So sending the children home without some kind of consistent alcohol monitoring is very, very concerning for the judicial officer.
Judge, you talked about not just protecting the children, but doing no harm. And it's very easy to, when we know someone's drinking, to keep children safe by keeping them away from a parent who's drinking. The reason why monitoring to me is so important is it goes the other way too. We don't want to harm a parent-child relationship by keeping a child away from a parent when they could be with them in a healthy manner.
Actually, that is the most concerning and important dilemma that courts struggle with. Effective alcohol monitoring can meet both of those goals because for very young children, that attachment concern is very significant. Alcohol monitoring can really be a huge positive step in allowing that continued contact, which is so important for kids.